Shakacharya, Ashtota Sat Srimad Srila Abhaya Charanarvin, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrind ki Jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai. Jai. Hare Krishna. Today we'll be reading from Canto 4 entitled The Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 5, Frustration of the Sacrifice of Daksha. We'll do text number 22 till 26 and we will basically complete this chapter today. So we'll all do Mangal Shara. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaheyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vangsha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtikim Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. We'll do text 22. Akram Yorashi Dakshasya Sita Dharena Hetina Chindannapi Tad Uddhartum Na shakno trayambakastada. Akramyo rashidakshasya. Sitadharena hetina. Chindannapi taduddhartum. Na shakno trayambakastada. Vaishnavas. Akramyo rashidakshasya. Sitadharena hetina. Chindanapi taduddhartum. Na shakno trayambakastada. Akramyo rashidakshasya. Sitadharena hetina. Chindanapi taduddhartum. Na shakno trayambakastada. Akramyo rashidakshasya. Sitadharena hetina. Chindannapi taduddhartum. Na shakno trayambakastada. Akramyo rashidakshasya. Sitadharena hetina. Chindannapi taduddhartum. Na shakno trayambakastada. Akramyo rashidakshasya. Sitadharena hetina. Chindannapi taduddhartum. Na shakno trayambakastada. Word for word. Akramya. Having sat. Urashi. On the chest. Dakshasya. Of Daksha. Sitadharena. Having a sharp blade. Hetina. With a weapon. Chindan. Cutting. Api. Even though. That. Head. Udhartum. To separate. Na ashaknod. Was not able. Triambaka. Virabhadra. Who had 3 eyes. Tada. After this. Translation by His Divine Grace Abhay Charnavind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Then Virabhadra, the giant-like personality, sat on the chest of Daksha and tried to separate his head from his body with sharp weapons, but was unsuccessful. Next shloka. Shastre astran vitar evam anirbhinna tvacham hara vishmayam param apanno dadyau pashupatishchiram. He tried to cut the head of Daksha with hymns as well as weapons, but still it was hard to cut even the surface of the skin of Daksha's head. Thus, Virabhadra was exceedingly bewildered. Text 24. Drishtva samgyapanam yogam pashunam sapatir makhe yajaman pashokasya kayat tena harachira. Translation. Then Virabhadra saw the wooden device in the sacrificial arena by which the animals were to have been killed. He took the opportunity of this facility to behead Daksha. Purport. In this connection, it is to be noted that the device used for killing animals in the sacrifice was not designed to facilitate eating their flesh. The killing was specifically intended to give a new life to the sacrificed animal by the power of Vedic mantras. The animals were sacrificed to test the strength of Vedic mantras. Yagyas were performed as a test of the mantra. Even in the modern age, tests are executed on animal bodies in the physiology laboratories. Similarly, whether or not the Brahmanas were uttering the Vedic hymns correctly was tested by the sacrifice in the arena. On the whole, the animals thus sacrificed were not at all the losers. Some old animals would be sacrificed, but in exchange for their old bodies, they received other new bodies. Thus was the test of the Vedic mantras. Virabhadra, instead of sacrificing animals with a wooden device, immediately beheaded Daksha to the astonishment of everyone. Text 25. Sadhu vadas tada tesham karma tattasya pashyatam bhuta preta pishachanam anyesham tad viparyaya. Translation. Upon seeing the actions of Virabhadra, the party of Lord Shiva was pleased and cried out joyfully, and all the bhutas, ghosts and demons that had come made a tumultuous sound. On the other hand, the Brahmanas in charge of the sacrifice cried out in grief. Juhavaitat chirastasmin dakshinagnav amarsita taddeva yagya dagdva pratishta guyakalayam. Translation. Virabhadra then took the head and with great anger threw it into the southern side of the sacrificial fire, offering it as an oblation. In this way, the followers of Lord Shiva devastated all the arrangements for sacrifice. After setting fire to the whole arena, they departed for their master's abode, Kailasha. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 4th canto, 5th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Frustrations of the Sacrifice of Daksha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, this is Hollywood violence in Bhagavatam. If you watch any modern movie, this is how they bring it. They bring the coarseness of the violence. So here, Virabhadra, a giant, sits on the chest of Daksha, his enemy. Imagine you have your enemy. I'm sure everybody has an enemy. Everybody has one, right? If not now, but when you were a kid, you definitely had enemies. Imagine you drag your enemy down, you sit on his chest with that anger, and you try to rip his head off. So this is the anger of Virabhadra. And this anger is an emulation of the anger of Lord Shiva. Right? And imagine Maitreya and Vidura are listening to this. That's the interesting thing. Do you know why Vidura is sitting with Maitreya? If you remember, if you go back in time, one canto ago. One canto ago. It is some years ago. One canto ago. Vidura is sad. He's saying, Uddhava, how are the family members? Uddhava says, they've all been destroyed. Everybody's been annihilated. He's like, what? He says, oh, no. Let me sit down and listen to some Bhagavatam. And now he's sitting one canto later. He's listening to the utter destruction of an assembly hall. So what does that tell you? First thing is that in the material world, destruction is guaranteed. Even when we are discussing about the Leelas of the Lord. In the material world, destruction is guaranteed. There is no scenario where destruction is not guaranteed. It is explained that in Goloka, the planet, the spiritual world, there the Gopi Jana Vallabhas, all the deer of Lord Krishna, they all sit together. The Gopas, the Gopis, they sit together and they listen to the stories of the demons. He said, there was a demon called Putana. What? And then they hear about the utter destruction and they are baffled. So although there is no destruction in the spiritual world, right? The spiritual world, there is no destruction. But the beauty of the spiritual world is that there is a time warp. You can go back in time in the spiritual world. In the material world, you can't go back in time. The scientist's greatest desire, I want to go back in time in the material world. That is not possible because material world, time is Kalo Asmi, destroyer of the three worlds. But in the spiritual world, that same time, it acts in a different mood. It acts in a repetitive, enhancing mood. So if, imagine Mother Yashoda, she wants to see the birth of Krishna. So she's enjoying that scene in the spiritual world and in all the material worlds where Krishna is continuously being born. So she's repeating. Time is repeating. It's in loop. Right? It's looped. Right? But it's not destroying. It is enhancing. So that's amazing, isn't it? That idea. So now, here we are looking at the destruction. So something amazing about this story, like I remember seeing about Daksha, and I was thinking that how in Srimad Bhagavatam we talk about bad parenting. There's good parenting and there is bad parenting. In Bhagavatam there are many instances of bad parenting. Here's an example. Daksha, bad parent, very bad parent. What was the problem? Like what was the issue? Very simple. He walked into an arena, sacrificial arena. He walked in, everybody stood up, the demigods were invited. Why were the demigods invited? To partake in the sacrifice. So he is offering oblations for the demigods. You understand? He is offering the oblations for the demigods and he has invited them. But when he enters the arena, all the demigods stand up. He's like, yeah, this is right. This is the way it's meant to be. But he's seeing these two guys didn't stand. Now Brahma, he's dad. Nobody wants to mess with the dad. But Shiva, what's his problem? How come he didn't stand? So this is intriguing. Sometimes we call somebody, but we don't realize that in inviting someone, we are giving them a position. That's something very interesting. Let's say, you call somebody, say, Prabhu, come for prasadam. Shocking as this is, you have invited somebody and given them an upadhi. You have given them a position. Now they come and you say, yeah, Prabhu, just pick a plate, go to the kitchen, right? He goes to the kitchen, picks the lid up, half the rice is eaten. Just, take some rice. You take, sit down and eat. What's the problem? What we have to recognize that is bad behavior. That is bad behavior. That is not cultured. It's amazing, isn't it? This idea. I'll tell you something. I will do it in the way Narad Muni does. Narad Muni tells the story of, allegory. I will tell an allegory, real incident, but in an allegory. Why? So that no characters should be named, right? There is a yagya, right? So in the yagya, you're saying, okay, there is a yagya. The yagya is for, a certain event. Okay, somebody must represent the guru, right? So a senior Vaishnava comes, sit down. You are, asked to sit here. You have to represent guru, right? Because someone has to represent, right? In a yagya, someone has to represent for that particular yagya. So that devotee sits, and then that devotee asks a question, and nobody responds to that devotee, right? Now everything I'm telling you is without malice, meaning this incident didn't happen due to malice. Do you understand that? It didn't happen due to malice. It just happened. Right? Now something interesting. In the whole scene, I'm observing and I'm thinking, okay, this personality has been invited into the seat to act as the representative of the guru. So how should the person be treated? How should the person be treated? As guru. Do you understand that? If you're not catching that, something is wrong in our culture. In our culture, something is wrong. Right? You have been asked, represent. Right? You have been asked, dear Prabhu, come, represent, sit down. Now when you're in that position, you have to be treated as such. Is that making sense? Sakshad Haritvena Samasta Shastra. Of course, that we are talking about Guru. Here the situation is slightly different. But even if the situation is slightly different, the behavior must be exactly the same. Is that understanding? Are you catching that point? Yes? So now, the person is asking, no one's responding, and then whole thing happens, everyone happy, right? But what I was observing was that, okay, this is the mistakes we make. Sometimes we are thinking, what mistake am I making? Am I making a mistake? I'm pretty good, right? I woke up, I did my rounds, everything is good. Did I make a mistake? Yes, we do. We make these mistakes. Okay, these are the mistakes we make. So the reason of explaining this is, we all do this, right? I have also done this, just to make it very clear. I have also done this, right? And I have done this not out of malice, but out of pure unadulterated ignorance. Right? That is why we have done it. Pure unadulterated ignorance. That is pure unadulterated goodness. Shuddha sattva. This is Shuddha tamas. Right? Hardcore. I was at Tamishra, Andha Tamishra. Like, that's what we're talking about. Hardcore ignorance. Right? But what we should do is realize this problem. So now Daksha, he has invited. So there Shiva is not acting as his son-in-law. Shiva is acting as the Guna avatar. Understand his role that he is playing there. The role he is playing there is of a Guna avatar. So if that is the role that he is representing, then who should respect whom? Right? So that's the first problem, right, in this. So now Daksha getting angry, bad parenting, starts shouting at his daughter. Right? I mean, he shouts a lot, Shiva as well. But then he also shows his anger to his daughter. So we'll see this bad parenting across Bhagavatam. Right? Surichi. What a beautiful name, right? Suruchi. What a beautiful name. If you hear the name, Suruchi. What a beautiful name. What did she do? Where is her Ruchi? You know what Ruchi means, right? Right? Where was her Ruchi? She is telling, my dear son, this is Satya Yuga. This is Satya Yuga. Right? Right? Satya Yuga. You're two down from Brahma. You're a big personality. Brahma, Swayambhuva, Manu, Uttanapad. You're two down. You're just two down from Brahma. What is she telling a 5-year-old boy? Son, next birth, take birth from my womb. Then you can sit in your father's lap. Who tells stuff like this? Who tells? Bad parenting. Hiranyakashipu. He's holding a 5-year-old boy, shaking him. A 5-year-old boy. Who shakes a 5-year-old boy? Sometimes you get angry at kids. 3, not 1. 3. You get angry. Ugram Virya Mahavishnu. You get angry. You're like, hey. And sometimes you feel like shaking the kid, but you're like, look at it. You just twig, like a twig. But look at Hiranyakashipu's anger. He's holding. Bad parenting. He's about to kill the guy. So in Bhagavatam, you will see this anger of parents towards their children. Right? You see many. Some are bad parenting and some are in good parenting also. Brahma, his anger towards the 4 Kumaras. You see that as well. That's good. It's a good thing. Vena's, what is his father's name? I forgot. Huh? I forgot. I genuinely, his name's wiped out from my head. But he's angry with Vena. He leaves. He just walks out. He's like, what is this guy? Nutcase? He just walks out. So there are some good examples as well. But in Bhagavatam, you will see that this bad parenting, this example of bad parenting. And then you will see wars, fights, familial fights. Familial. This is a family dispute that has come to such a point that a son-in-law has chopped the head off his father-in-law. It's come to this. Another scene you see Krishna, he's sitting on the chest of Kamsa. Right? Veerabhadra is sitting in the chest of Daksha. Krishna is sitting on the chest of Kamsa and slapping him. Whoa, man. Familial dispute. Mahabharata, everybody knows. Prabhasa Kshetra. What happened there? Canto 11. What happened? They're just killing each other with bamboo reeds. Sheesh. That's some anger. In Mayapur, they set up all pandals with bamboo. So I was telling my son, be very careful. I said, bamboo reeds have a history in our, in our Vedic, stories. Be very careful of them. Right? So the idea here is that familial dispute reaching to this crescendo where somebody's head has been chopped off is extraordinary. Right? And this is a very beautiful word. If you go to text number 24, right, of this chapter, you will see on the third line this word, Yagyamana Pashokasya. Okay? This guy is a Yajamana. He's a Yajaman. What is Yajaman? Yajaman is like, the one who is like kind of leading the whole yagya. Right? When I say leading in the sense, is providing the facility, providing the money, providing the opportunity. Think of Yudhishthir Maharaj who provides the opportunity to do Rajasuya sacrifice. That sacrifice is like a year long, like a bit more than a year long sacrifice, like a really long sacrifice. Right? So, when we hear about the kings, stay there, they go, they come back, it's like a full on thing. It's not, when we read it, it feels like it's like 1 day event or a 2 day event. No, 1 year event. It's just a long time, long festival, right? So the Yajamana, but the Yajamana Pashokasya. He says that Yajaman who provided the facility will now become the animal sacrificed in that facility. That is something. This is anger. This is anger, at a really crude level. Right? So this is Lord Shiva's anger. Yeah? So here we are observing the anger of Lord Shiva. Right? And in that anger, he sacrifices the head of Daksha. Right? Now, of course, at this point where we leave this chapter, the sacrifice feels incomplete. Why? Because Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that the strength of the mantra, what is the strength of the mantra? That the old animal is brought back to life. Are you understanding? The strength of the mantra is that the old animal is brought back to life. So here the old animal, right? Yajamana Pashokasya. He has been now sacrificed. Right? Just chopped his head off, thrown on the southern direction. Right? This is very nice if you see the next, 25. Sadhuvadas tadatesha. The sadhus, they're exclaiming, what's going on? Alright? But then, obviously, because the people performing the sacrifice, if you see Bhrigu, he's performing the sacrifice. Right? He knows his mantras. He knows how to perform. Eventually, the sacrifice will be fulfilled. Eventually, this is going to come in, I think, the next chapter. Right? This fulfilling of the sacrifice will occur. But here, at this point in time, right, the sacrifice has been completed from one angle, meaning the animal has been sacrificed. And so the idea here is that these behaviors that we have, they have to be sacrificed. Right? We are also doing sacrifice. Sankirtan Jagya. Which animal is being offered here? Right? He says the power of the mantra is to reignite and come up, to finish the old animal and come up with a new body. So we are also doing that. We have terrible behavior in our hearts. We have this pashu, dui pada pashu, right? Two-legged animal. Bhagavatam, right? Dui pada pashu. We are the two-legged animal. We are also sacrificing this animal in the Sankirtan Jagya. Kill, finish. Why? So that the new body forms. The Swarupa, the Ahankara gets destroyed, and the Swarupa, this is Shruta Kirti Prabhu. What is the difficulty? That's the book. Shruta Kirti Prabhu is saying, Srila Prabhupada is sitting in the garden. I think this is in New York somewhere. I don't remember the place now. It is there in his book. And he's saying Srila Prabhupada is being massaged, old man. He says you can feel his ribs when you're massaging him. Right? Old man. Right? You're massaging with oil, you can feel his ribs. And then suddenly Srila Prabhupada, he puts his chest straight, blows it out and says, Govindamadi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. He says, this is our ego. This is our Swarupa. He says, Govinda, you are Adi Purush. Oh Govinda, you are Adi Purush. Therefore, Tam, Aham, me, I am praying to you. You getting? He says, this is ego. Can you speak something like this to the God? Oh Krishna, because you are the Supreme, that's why I am praying. He says, but this is real ego. Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda. Right? It is starting like that. Amazing, isn't it? It is so self-realized, this position. This is real self-realization. No ego, nothing. You're saying, yes, I am praying. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda. So this is Swarupa. So we are sacrificing the ahankara. Right? And we are trying to get the real mood out. This real mood, this real Swarupa, that's what we are trying to get out. Right? So this is our exercise. This is our desire in this process. And like I said, these small cultural things, they matter. Right? They matter. And one may consider, why take these things so seriously, Krishna? Right? Okay, I did not behave nicely, but I was in ignorance. Why does Krishna take these things seriously? Ever wondered? Why does he take Vaishnava Aparad so seriously? What's the problem? Okay, I'm a bum. Right? I agree I'm a bum. Okay, I did something wrong. Big deal. Why, Krishna, why are you getting so annoyed? Why so annoyed? Because just like Krishna is fully cognizant and conscious, the devotee is also cognizant and conscious. And so because the devotee is conscious, he is observing everything we are doing. Just like Krishna, Drishtva and Drishti, that beautiful presentation by Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, right? Who is the seer, who is the seen? Right? Very beautiful. He says, initially, we are coming to temple and saying, Krishna, today I saw Krishna. No, actually, we are the ones being seen. Oh Gopinath, please see me. Like, every time I think about that Krishna is seeing me, I feel so terrible. Oh God, better iron your clothes. Because Krishna is seeing you, now you have to iron your clothes, right? If you have to see Krishna, Krishna is dressed nicely. Look at the beautiful garland, look at the beautiful turban. He's fine, he's beautiful. Everything is good. But if we start realizing, no, I am being seen. Oh, I have to shave. Oh, I have to iron my clothes. Prabhu came to me and said, Prabhu, you're not wearing tilak. Yes. No, believe me or not, this is important. Right? It is very important. Why? Because by doing this, you have to understand that you are the one being seen. Yes. You have to realize this. And if you cannot realize this, it's a problem. Right? So I didn't realize. Right? I was standing here, I was thinking, yeah, everything is good. But then it takes a devotee to make you realize something. Really, this is something you appreciate. Yeah, you appreciate this from the bottom of your like, yes. Oh yeah. So the Drishtva and the Drishti, right? That is very important. Who is the seer and who is the seen? And if we come to this realization that the devotee, he is conscious, and because he is conscious, he is observing. So now, such a conscious person will observe our uncultured behavior. And because he is observing that makes Krishna angry. Now, just imagine for 1 second, all right? Right? Just for a minute, somebody does something to you or to me. Anyway, I'm ignorant. I'm not conscious. Are you getting? I'm not conscious. So if I am not conscious, then if somebody does something to me, where is the aparad? There is no aparad. Are you getting? I am unconscious. I am unconscious. If somebody does something to me, right? There is no aparad. Why? Because I am unconscious. But if somebody is conscious and we are behaving uncultured, Krishna gets angry. This is why Krishna gets angry. Are you understanding why Krishna doesn't like Vaishnava Pr? This is very interesting, because if we appreciate that the devotee is conscious, so the devotee, like I see my Guru Maharaj, right? In Mayapur, I see him come up and down and sing. I can see he is fully conscious of what's going on around him. And he's observing everybody. Everyone, not one person is going out of his range of observation. And he knows what's going on, fully conscious. Right? But we are, other guys are like, hey, move, hey, move. So the actor is unconscious, right? But the director is fully conscious. The director of the situation is fully conscious. The actor may be a little unconscious because the actor is in the scene doing the role. So, you get a little unconscious about things around you. But the director, he's fully conscious. He knows what's this, what's coming next, what's going after that, right? So this observation should be given. And then therefore, we have to realize that as we are progressing, right, our unconsciousness must become conscious. Like my own, my ignorance must go, it should change. I personally should change. And therefore, I should start realizing that if there is a position that I am providing, this is clear, there's a position I am providing, then I should also provide the culture that goes with it. It makes sense? If I am providing the position, I must provide the culture. And I can tell you for myself, that is for me individually, it's really hard. Right? If I invite someone to my house, I'm like, all right, man, they came home. Okay. All right, bro. Need some water? Sure, bro. Kitchen is there. Go get it. So, it happens. These things happen. But if you're providing the position, you have to also facilitate the culture. And so Daksha missed that. Just one thing, small thing, he missed it. My God, what has happened? I don't know if you can phantom this. He's watching his daughter burn alive. That's something, that itself is a thing. You're like, what's going on here? Then he's seeing his son-in-law bring an army which is like so extraordinary that his own head is ripped off. Right? It is something. Here, of course, we are observing from the perspective of Veerabhadra. But imagine Daksha's perspective. A guy is sitting on his chest, trying to rip his neck off, it's not working. Then he sees a wooden thing, he's picking him, dragging him, puts him there. Oh, Gopinath. Poor man. What just happened here? Really, what just happened here? It just, snowballs so, at such a pace that, you can't even figure out what's going on. Right? So this is the journey into this chapter as we conclude that Veerabhadra and all, they have walked away and they do what all the baddies do. They burnt the place down. In India, people get angry. They're, the Mughals, they burned Nalanda. They burned this. They burned that. Yeah, but that's happening since time immemorial. Srila Prabhupada writes in which, I forgot which chapter it is, where the king of Kashi, where Krishna goes and he burns Kashi. He says, yeah, and like this, Kashi keeps getting burnt. Yeah, these things happen. These things happen. Right? One should not get so, annoyed and so, disheartened that, the Mughals did it. Lord Shiva did it. Right? Yeah. Krishna did it. Happens. These things happen. Right? So, we should let go of these things. Instead, think about, how I can improve. Nobody talks about bringing back the culture, yeah? They talk about, the culture got destroyed. All right, how about bringing it back? Hey, I got to wear my jeans. I got to wear my Nikes. But the culture got destroyed. Yeah, but how about we bring it back? No, we need to get reparations, we need to punish that act. No, how about we bring the culture back? Don't worry, the books will come back. If the culture comes back, the books will come back. You don't need to worry. We don't need to fight over these things. Yeah? So, sorry, that was a side step. Back here, right? So Daksha from his perspective, all these things have happened. And the reason why I'm showing you Daksha's perspective, here we are doing Virabhadra's, but in the next chapter, when we see his resurrection, right, that is the reason he's allowed. Because through the process of Praschita, one does get a chance to resurrect themselves. That opportunity is provided. Alright, so we will end here. It's 8:45. Devotees want to share something. This is a very interesting part of Srimad Bhagavatam. I mean, all parts of Srimad Bhagavatam are interesting, but it's always good to see familial disputes, bad parenting, weird culture, and then this violence at an extraordinary level. Like really extraordinary. Yes.
It's very interesting what you mentioned about the Gopijanavalakaras.
Yeah.
They get to hear
About the yes.
heroes.
Yeah.
Do they get to witness as well?
Do they get to?
Do they get to witness this?
Yeah. That's what I was saying. The time is looped. So yes. Yeah, of course. When somebody is conscious, see, we don't know what it means to be conscious, right? We are thinking, when my eyes are open, I'm conscious. No, consciousness is a whole different feeling. The emotions are at a very heightened level. Yeah.
And by the killing of Daksha, is it being demonstrated that only when he is being treated as an animal, then it was possible for Virabhadra to kill him? I mean, he had so many weapons, right? In his hands.
No. Here, okay. The story is that because the yagya must be completed, the yagya has to be completed, right? So the animal has to be sacrificed. And so who is the animal in the assembly hall? Daksha is. So then Daksha is sacrificed. And then in this next, we don't want to open out the next chapter, but in the next chapter in the prayers, these things will be discussed. That his behavior was such, so his behavior equals the result. So the result is such.
Has got something to say.
Yeah.
Saying that Purnacharya Maharaj writes in the Gita Amrita that Krishna compared the battle of Kurukshetra to Arjuna's sacrifice. Arjuna's bow to the ladle, arrows to the ghee poured into the yagya fire, which was the battle itself. This is an unusual interpretation of the activities of a Kshatriya. Everything happens according to God's will, even war. But by the same analogy, is it possible to call what is happening in Ukraine a yagya? So that is not speculation.
Oh wow! That's outside my realm of contemplation. I haven't contemplated like that. So that's a very good contemplation. Yeah, sometimes acts happen for a result. So I think that we can definitely appreciate. Like I was listening to some devotees who are looking at astrological charts, and they were saying that by 2030 the star signs will be almost the same as Mahabharata. So there is going to be a sizable war, like not just a war, but a sizable war. Now, how big the war is, I don't know, but the star signs are exactly the same. They're saying, I think, what is it? Mars and Saturn and Jupiter, it's like full on, they're in war footing, all of them. So it's almost at the same star signs when Mahabharata happened. So to your point, in one sense, if you can see astrologically the stars are leaning there, so then maybe somehow, they say anichanapi varshnaya, impelled, unknowingly impelled. So sometimes people get unknowingly impelled. So it is a very interesting, I have never contemplated on that, but interesting contemplation. Very interesting contemplation. All right, that's it. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Go Premanande. Vaishnava.